Sean?
Oh yeah, there's
so many options. Go ahead.
Well, good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Congrats on the contract extension.
Thank you.
Congrats on the engagement.
Thank you. Yeah.
Extension and engagement are very similar. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
So we came out to a training. We saw you, and you look fit for fight. How's the hip? How are you feeling generally? How are things?
Yeah, things are good. It was a busy off season, but in the best way. Extension was huge, engagement huge, like you mentioned, and then really I just focused on getting healthier, which I was so bummed to miss the last couple games of the season, but big picture was the best thing. Just got to fully focus on myself and be prepared and be ready to be fully fit for the beginning of the season. So it's been nice.
Well, very good. I'm going to have to refer to this because there's kind of a quote in here, but Kelly Cousins, sporting director Kelly Cousins, said of you that, speaking of last year, your leadership as a person, as a player, has helped create an incredible locker room. So I'm curious, you had a little bit of time in the off season to kind of cook up some ideas on how you could be that incredible leader yet again. Did you have anything come to mind? Do you have any ideas on how you're going to help this team just fire on all cylinders this year?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's so nice to hear that from your GM, and everything that Kelly's done for us has been huge, especially for me. And but thinking of leadership, thinking of last year, obviously I was new to that role and I learned so much. And it was a year full of everything, ups and downs, everything in between. But obviously ending on such a high made it so easy to sign the extension, to be a leader on this team. And just for me, I think it's not settling ever and just knowing that I can learn and improve. So that's been finding out personality, strengths and weaknesses of mine in the locker room, showing up for my teammates, what that's going to mean. And yeah, so I think it's just continuing to be me, but also I know my weaknesses and I know the areas that I need to improve, and also surround myself with that in the locker room and just use the other voices in the locker room as well. So yeah, it's something I don't take lightly, but it's been good.
So you're kind of speaking to that, my last question, and I'll pass it on, but just contrast your feelings between start of last year and this year. Just where are you at kind of mentally and swagger and confidence? And
yeah, I think last year, honestly, it was a lot for me personally. I thought I was going to be at Louisville and I got traded and you have to pack up and move across the country. As much as you want to be able to handle that the best you can, I didn't realize how stressed I was. You know what I mean? So, and with that, of course, it's a knock to your confidence and just how you're feeling every day, where this year I was excited to be here, and there's such a vision and there's such a path that I know I'm responsible for and the team is as well. So that makes it super easy to show up every day to work, and I'm just really excited for this year and feeling healthy and just feeling like myself in January, I think is going to be super beneficial. So yeah, I'm excited.
We're excited for you.
Thanks.
I see you've got the pink scrunchie there in your hand.
Oh yeah. I just walk around with it.
Are there plans to continue / expand Paige's Pink Scrunchie Club this year?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, there's so much. I mean, I have to bring this for a video later, just so you know. I'm not just asking about this.
It's part of your brand though, so you have to.
Yeah, I guess. But honestly, yeah, I loved the group that we created. I'm hopeful we can do just more things with that. Looking in big picture and just in the long run, I would love to have a foundation to help athletes go from being in the stands to being on the field, and what that pathway looks like, especially with confidence. So yeah, ideas were swirling this off season, but for now, I'm just excited to see the group and excited to see the fans, and yeah, I'll be running the Pink Scrunchie stuff.
And then you mentioned there is a clear vision for the team this year.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share with us a little bit about what that vision is specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I think the expectations of even how we were expected to come in, fitness wise, technical wise, just our knowledge of the game was held to a different standard than ever before. And then on top of that, when we sat down and talked about, what we want for this year, the one non-negotiable was playoffs, and that wasn't, something that people are oh, what? It's yeah, that's our expectation, that's what we're doing here. So I think we have that in our plan, and to have that on day one, just for when we're lifting, when we're warming up, when we're doing recovery, that is the focus, and that's a team I want to be a part of. So yeah, it should be really good. I'm excited.
Cool.
Does it feel like there's just that much more of a foundation this year than expansion, coaching change, just kind of the chaos from a year ago?
Definitely. There is a foundation and there's a vision. There's everyday things that we can complete. There's goals every single day that we have. So it just feels like actual steps that we're taking towards that. So yeah, it's it's so refreshing. The group we have too, the players returning, the additions, have been awesome. You know, the vibe in the locker room was there last year, but I think there's now an intensity as well, which is what we were missing. So, yeah, it's looking good. I'm excited.
Does it feel like maybe everyone, including Jimmy, is a little less drinking from a fire hose than a year ago, and it's all, like you said, it's all planned out? Maybe it's a long preseason, but
Yeah,
there's a plan going forward.
definitely. I mean, even just like in our day-to-day, he plans our days like to the minute, you know what I mean? And sometimes, like, even as a player, you can be like, wow, like this is a lot for today, but again, we know that it's for a vision and we know it's for a reason. But even you could just tell, like, I mean, Jimmy's always been confident, but it's nice that it's able to start with him, you know, now in January, not halfway through the year where he's like, okay, what can we do here? You know, where now we know what we're doing and we know who we are. And even one thing I'm super thankful for is, like, he just like saw what I'm capable of, and for me as a player to have that belief means everything. And then that allows me to be confident, to be the Paige Monaghan you saw at the end of the year, where I can play free and focus and fun and get goals, get assists, and just lead. So yeah, it's been awesome, and it's just the start, but you know, we have a bit for preseason and then games will be here before you know it.
And then the last thing for me, how would you kind of describe the culture that you're welcoming the new people into now that, you know, Jimmy and his staff have been around for 6 or 9 months,
Yeah.
the core of the group, the facilities are open and ready, that, you know, we don't have to wait for that anymore. It's just, everybody's off and running, I
Yeah,
guess.
I think the first thing that comes to mind is like there's a level of professionalism, like our facilities, you know, they're unbelievable. Everyone that walks in is like, oh my, like Tatum was like, this is beautiful. I'm like, I know, this is what I was telling you. But I think there's that level of professionalism in just like women's sports, but across the board that, you know, we have here at Utah, which is huge, as well as our support staff. We have grown in numbers in this off season, which has been incredible. Elise, so we have individual coaching. We also have, you know, medical stuff just for us, which is everything. But then welcoming players, I think the culture that we have is we all do care about each other and we all want the best for each other, but as soon as we step on the field, we are competing. And that means throwing elbows, that means pushing each other around, but then as soon as we step off, we respect each other, you know, we care for one another, and it's the same thing again. And that is a challenging environment, but I think every player that's here wants that environment and wants that. And that's something that I don't take lightly. And, you know, as soon as I get in a scuffle with, you know, Brecken to Poe after, I'm like, that was kind of crazy, but thank you, I needed that. So it's been really fun. And I think at the end of the day, that's what everyone wants. Everyone wants to compete, everyone wants to be the best. And at the end of the day, just have an environment where we know that we have each other's backs and that it's us against the world.
And then how great is it to have Amani back on the field? What a reward, I guess.
Yeah, she's such a gem. I mean, I've known her for so long too, so just to see all the ups and downs she's been through, and just to see her now like glowing and playing, and she hasn't missed a beat, of course, so it's been really cool. I'm really happy for her and just this next chapter in her career.
Thanks.
Oh, go ahead, Sean.
You touched on it a little bit there with some of the new faces, the new coaching staff in particular, but what's kind of stood out the most about some of those new cast of characters, I guess, backing up Jimmy, because you've gotten to know him for most of last year.
Yeah, I
At
think
least, but Emily and the rest of them, what are the kind of impacting you guys?
totally, that's a great question. So honestly, like Jimmy, obviously, and Sam, they have such a vision, they have a plan, but when you have a training per se, and then if someone's like technically messing something up, to have like M be those eyes of like, you can do that in 2, it just like helps those finer details become even more. So that's been really cool. And then just for me, you know, coming back, she's just took individual time to work with me and just to get those reps so that I feel comfortable, so then when I'm in training, I can do something like 100%. So yeah, it's been great. And then as well as on the medical side, just adding numbers, just knowing that, you know, you have people there for you has been everything.
I watched a couple of highlights when Emily was announced of her playing career.
Yeah.
This was a little while ago, but not, I mean, fairly recent still, recent enough.
Yeah.
She reminded me a little bit of you. So
Really?
I'm glad to hear that there's, maybe she's kind
Oh.
of pulled you aside a little bit, kind of give you some like little tips and tricks.
Hey, I'll take
There.
that. I've had players who've worked with her and played with her, and as soon as we got the signing for her, they were like, she's awesome, you're gonna love her, so I'll take that compliment.
You piqued my interest, and you may have just meant this generally, but you said coming in, you were kind of challenged even in your knowledge of the game. Was there homework that was given? Was this something that has been said, you know, since you guys have all convened back in? But what did you mean by that? Because I'm really curious.
Yeah, I think like one thing is you can like go over film like throughout the year and like of something so obvious where like you're messing up, but without giving too much away. Like Jimmy wants us to like understand our game plan and like what we're doing and what that looks like. So yeah, this off season has like included film, but that's also just like knowledge of the game of like watching teams and you know whether that's Liverpool, like what's something you notice from them versus like Man City. So yeah, so not like exact homework, but just more of like he wants you to understand like what we're gonna do and why we do it and how that looks.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. It's cool too because like Paige, I mean not that I'm old, but like I love that I'm still learning like all these things, and even like being in the game I can think about things differently, and now being in this role too, like some things seem so obvious because I've learned from Jimmy, and now we have new players and like they don't know, so even I'm able to like help them and just share that wealth of knowledge, which has been cool.
That is cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tell your engagement story.
Tell my engagement story?
Yeah.
What, the whole thing?
Oh.